telling you that. I barely.
Welcome back to Movie Flix. Today we are going to recap 2006 horror thriller movie titled When a Stranger Calls. Jill, a teenage babysitter, gets anxious when she starts receiving anonymous calls. However, nothing could prepare for the horror she faces when she finds out where the calls are coming from. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to our channel. Now, without wasting any further time, let's begin, shall we? Stacy receives a phone call from an unknown person on a regular basis, but the stranger remains silent and hangs up. Screams can be heard coming from the house. However, because of the loud noises outside, no one can hear the screams. The police arrive the next morning to find the bodies of a woman and 3 children who had been brutally murdered with his bare hands by a psychopath. Then we are taken to a Fernal, Colorado, where we met Jill. Bobby, her boyfriend, approaches her. Jill, on the other hand, is enraged because she witnessed him giving Tiffany, her best friend, a tongue massage. Jill then travels to Scarlett's house. They had planned to attend a bonfire party. However, because Jill is grounded, she will have to babysit at night. Jill is picked up by her father and driven to doctor's house where she will be babysitting. She meets the doctor Tim and his wife Kelly. There, Kelly shows her around the house and gives her instruction for the night before she leaves. Jill is having a good time exploring the house, but then she hears the sound of someone entering the room. Jill follows the sound and discovers the maid feeding the birds. Someone dials the Kelly's landline number. When Jill answered the phone, there was no one there. Scarlett calls Jill and informs her that Bobby has requested her phone number. Jill agrees and instructs her to provide the phone number. Jill rushes to turn off the alarm system when it goes off by itself. Kelly calls Jill to see if everything is alright. Jill then goes to search for Rosa, but she is nowhere to be found. Someone else calls the landline and this time it's a prank call. Jill, on the other hand, hears some noises coming from her room and goes to investigate. The noise came from the freezer. Someone dialed the landline again. Jill picks it up but no one answers. Jill is then startled by Tiffany. Tiffany wishes to mend her relationship with Jill and expresses regret for kissing Bobby. They reach an agreement and Jill asks Tiffany to leave. Tiffany is walking towards her car when she hears footsteps behind her. Tiffany enters her car and drives to the gate. However, the gate is obstructed by a tree. Tiffany gets out of the car to move the tree, but she is attacked. The door is then knocked on. Jill opens the door but no one is there. Bobby calls Jill to see how she is. However, the call is dropped due to faulty network connection. Jill receives another phone call. Jill checks the other landline and discovers that the call is from Tiffany. When Jill answers the phone, she is approached by a stranger. Jill calls Scarlett but the call is dropped due to the faulty network connection. Jill then attempts to call her father and Kelly but neither responds. Jill then goes to the restaurant where the Kelly had a reservation but discovers that they had left 40 minutes before. Jill also calls the police and informs them of the call she has been receiving. Jill discovers Rosa's car while on the phone and is relieved that she hasn't left. Jill searches for Rosa and attempts to contact her. Rosa, on the other hand, does not answer the phone. So Jill follows the ringtone and discovers Rosa's phone in her bag. Jill receives another call from the stranger who inquires as to whether she has checked on the children. Jill enters the children's room and discovers them sleeping. The stranger calls Jill once more and inquires about the children. Jill notices that the stranger is close by and watching her. Jill contacts the police and informs them of a stranger. The cops inquire about her address and assures her that they are on their way. Jill receives another call from the stranger and attempts to speak with him for at least 60 seconds so that the police can track him down. However, the stranger cuts the call after 60 seconds. Jill then notices that the lights in the guest room are turned on, so she dials Todd, Kelly's son, but he does not answer. So Jill calls him and asks him to come over and stay with her until the cops arrive. Jill notices someone walking inside the guest house and believes it is Todd. Jill decides to go to the guest house and dashes towards it. Jill searches for Todd but he isn't there. Todd's phone is called by a stranger. Jill continues to speak with him and manages to stay on call for 60 seconds. However, he later realizes that he dialed the incorrect phone number. Jill then notices that one of the room's light has been turned on, so she dashes toward the house to investigate. The stranger calls Jill again but says nothing. Jill tries to stay on a call for longer than a minute but continues to speak with him. And Jill is then called up by the police, who informs her that the stranger is calling her from the house. Suddenly, the power goes out and Jill discovers Tiffany's body. She walks cautiously towards the children's room only to discover that children have been gone missing. Jill discovers that they're hidden inside a box. Jill discovers the door is blocked from the inside by a cupboard as they prepare to leave. From the top, the stranger is keeping an eye on them. Jill locks herself inside the room and rushes out the window with the children. Jill hides the children and jumps into the water. There she discovers Rosa's body, which is being kept underwater by a heavy rock. The children emerge from their hiding places and rush towards the door, which is unfortunately locked. The stranger tries to grab Jill, but she throws him into the water. Jill successfully escapes and unlocks the door. She grabs the children and dashes towards the door. However, the stranger comes to a halt and locks the door. Jill tries to flee, but the stranger apprehends her. Jill escapes and stabs his hand with the fireplace poker just as he was about to kill her. Jill flees for her life and makes it out alive. She collides with the police officer who arrests the stranger. The children have been reunited with their parents and are safe. Jill and the stranger exchange stares as they were being taken to the hospital. The stranger is a psychopath who has murdered numerous women and has been harassing them for hours. Jill awakens in the hospital and requests a nurse, but since no one responds, Jill decides to investigate. As she walks away, the phone begins to ring. The stranger then attacks her once more, but it turns out that Jill has been traumatized by the incident and is being treated in a hospital, where she has developed a fear of phone calls. And this is where the movie ends. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, until next time.